I'm with you. Grab my hand. Grab my hand and get up. You got it. You hear me? You got a chance. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what you're going through right now. I don't care about none of that. You got a chance. You hear me? You got the same 24 hours as everybody on this planet. You got a chance. You hear me? I'm supposed to be dead. You hear me? I was the first to make it out outside of my
Welcome to Pushboy Podcast. Welcome back. Myself, original gentleman.
The Hall of Fame.
Original underscore gentleman, 82. The Hall of Fame superstar.
The football guy.
Football guy. Father. You know what I'm saying?
Don't give a fuck about basketball.
You know what I mean? Sydney, where the hell you going?
Sydney gets off every time.
I quit. Yo, man, you know what I'm saying?
I'm your boy. Yeah. I'm your boy, Young Ma, 856.
Sydney _ I am _ Mr. Man Ambitious. I fucked it up, but it's all good. Keep going.
And welcome to Pushboy Podcast. Man, we got an interesting guest today, man. Coming out of Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I know this brother. He kicked my ass every week on the court. You know what I mean? He got a jump shot like a motherfucker. That's
been the story lately, man. What's going on?
Oh, no. Well, all right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, listen. Oh, damn. That's okay. Nah. We, I knew this brother for a long time, man. Good guy, man. And last week we did an interview, and he had a very interesting topic, so I had to bring him up today. But Keith Benson, man, what's up?
So first thing I want to say is, like, I really think what y'all doing is, like, for real, really dope. You know what I mean? The idea that you guys create something and get it out there, that takes a lot of effort. And actually seeing all this come across, you know, and all the stuff that goes into it. Really, I don't think people really appreciate how much effort goes into it.
Definitely don't.
You know, so I think that in and of itself is, like, dope. And I appreciate the time. So my title officially is Dr. Keith Benson.
Dr.
Shit, cool.
I'm fucking up.
And right now I'm the
Dr. Keith Benson. I'm sorry, my brother.
Cool.
You put a lot of work
I never ever refer to myself, you know, as that. You know what I mean? Because that can really turn people off, and, like, you know, it's not really about that in the first place. So as a job, I'm the president of the teachers union here in the city. So if your kid goes to a Camden public school, most likely the people who work in the building that are servicing your kids are union members, and I'm the president of that organization. So it's about like 1,200 members. So I grew up in Cherry Hill. Went to Cherry Hill schools up until 10th grade. Then I went to Morristown Friends from 10th to 12th. I met my best friend there, and me and him been cool for since what was it, 95?
Mr. Brian Turner.
2019, yeah.
BT.
So 24 years.
BT.
You know what I mean? 24 years.
A hood legend.
And then you know, I started teaching. Moved to the city back in 99, and I've been here ever since. You know, and that's that. So my wheelhouse, the thing I really care a whole lot about and dedicate a lot of time and research into, has been education, and how right now Camden is changing, it's being forcibly changed, and how the change in education, the forcible change in education through Renaissance schools specifically, is being used to help push people out. You know, and what happens is, a lot of times when we talk about education, especially in the urban areas, we never talk about how it potentially can be a harmful tool to separate people who've been here in the city for generations and move them someplace else. You know, a lot of times when people talk about school, you know, to you as a parent especially, your mind just immediately just goes right to what you think the best, you know, in education is, and of course you want that for your kid. But in urban areas like Camden and, you know, Brooklyn and Harlem and Philly, like certain parts of North Philly right now, you know, Chicago, the influx of charter schools that are being forced in urban areas is being used to help cultivate a certain population coming here and pushing the people who've been here out. Right. And that conversation really ever happens, and that's really
what why I wanted to bring, because, you know, you surprised me when we talked about this before. And you highlighted that, and me being a resident of Camden and seeing the reality, like from your perspective, and it enlightened me and woke me up to, like, yo, people need to hear what, you know, basically the conversations. And like one of the things that I admire about you is, like, you know, you're not just subjectively doing it from your own thought, well, in a way, but you want to get the community's feeling on certain subjects and topics on how we can fight and overcome certain situations.
So back to the book, which really mattered to me, is that when you hear about you guys heard the phrase Camden Rising, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so when you hear Camden Rising, you gotta understand that's coming from a certain perspective. Mm-hmm. And that perspective never includes the residents that actually live here.
No.
You know what I mean? It's people who, policymakers and people with money and access to power and stuff like that. So when I interview, first of all, like it's really important for me to highlight the people who helped make the book happen. And Mar was one of the people. Like I interviewed a lot. Everybody I interviewed was city residents. You know what I mean? Because their voices is never included. Like when people think about Camden Rising, they never put the mic in Mars, you know what I mean, hand like, yo, what you think about what's going on and what you want to see for your city. So the book wouldn't be done without the efforts of folks like Mar even contributing, you know what I mean? And it was way less important for me to put what I thought out, you know what I mean, as just one person as it is to me to get the voices of residents and put that out. So I think that was what I really tried to do, you know, with the book. And, you know, I appreciate everybody who take their time to share.
What's the name of the book?
Education Reform and Gentrification in the Age of Camden Rising.
So one more time.
Education Reform and Gentrification in the Age of Camden Rising.
Right.
So the city been listening. The city been like the seeds have been planted to really remove the city from, you know, lack of a better term, possession of Black and Latino residents who've been here for 70 years. And shit's happening, like for real, it's happening. It's happening in a lot of ways. The policing was one element to it. You know, bringing in all these different corporations like the 76ers and Holtex and all sorts of stuff was another element to it. I mentioned the police already. Housing,
them shutting down Camden High.
Yeah, they're all symptoms like there's a land grab that's really taking place. And what really irritated me at the time when I started deciding this is the thing I wanted to dedicate my research to, was the fact that they kept on getting an education argument off. Like, Camden School is terrible, Camden School is horrible, you know what I mean? Parents want to leave and yada, yada, yada. And in place of that, here's KIPP, here's Master, here's Uncommon, and these are the solutions. And it was getting that off from a lot of parents, you know what I mean? But you know, unless parents are understanding, like, yo, this really shit's a game, you know what I mean? And this all works in concert with one another. You just think you're sending your kid to the best school, you know what I mean?
My question is this, right? So with all the charter schools popping up and everything, and you know some of the public schools closing down. As a parent, right? I don't go to PTA meetings. Like, I'm this parent, like, not me myself, but I'm this parent that don't go to PTA meetings. I don't really know too much that board education is doing right now. You know what I'm saying? I just know my kid I send my kid to school. I go to work, you know, and they do what they got to do. They come home and the grades is good. But what is it that the parents are missing from the community that they should know when they send their child to these, you know, to a charter school in Camden?
All right, so a lot of stuff that's out there is really misnomers. You know what I mean? So like we said, like and the language we use and the way we interpret stuff is really important. So like when Camden schools are closing, like no, they brought a superintendent in here back in 2013 who was here to collapse the school. Like that's why he was here, not improve shit. To collapse the schools at the same time these Renaissance schools were starting. You know what I mean? And then use a program. It's called Camden Roman. I don't know if you guys have Facebook. It comes across your feed and stuff like that. It's a subsidiary program. It's an outside organization that's funded by the same groups that invest in the mastery and the KIPPs and the uncommons to help funnel kids outside of Camden public schools so they can use that to build their under enrolled argument to collapse them more to build them up. Understand these corporate charters that I'm referencing. It's investment, bro. Just like McDonald's, just like any other franchise, like Coca-Cola. Like the more there are, the more money your investors make. Right. So there's a dollar interest in seeing our public education system collapse. And that argument isn't made. And when people talk about, like, you know, our Camden schools, our public schools are deficient, whatever case it be. One thing when I do have an opportunity to actually talk to people, and which is really interesting because the fact, you know, I'm getting off topic, but the fact that I never took education really, really seriously until I was a junior in college and when I became a teacher myself, you know what I mean? But the fact that I began to take education seriously after I became a teacher is really what's allowing me to have this conversation right now, which is like dope. Like me being able to talk about education in my community is like, that's dope as hell to me, you know what I mean? And then also, like I never traveled either, you know what I mean? So the first time I've been on a plane to see my boy who's down in North Carolina, balling. But like I never been to like other places like Chicago and stuff like that, you know what I mean, without like studying this, you know what I mean? So this right here is like really allowed me to see a whole lot of stuff that I would have never really seen, you know what I mean? But back to what parents should know is like one parent, I understand that parents want to do what they think is best. but also when in terms of what they think is best educationally, in a lot of ways has been sort of contaminated by what I call white eyes. And what I mean by white eyes is that we look at if this is what's happening in a white area, in a white space, inherently we think, or we've been taught that means that it's better.
Exactly.
That's wrong.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So like somebody like me, I went to Morristown Friends, and I went to Morristown Friends exclusively because of I had an opportunity to play basketball. So when I was at Cherry Hill West, that's when I went to high school first when I was in 9th grade. I got cut for the freshman team, right? Cried. and then I was a manager because I said I'd be a manager on the team on the condition I could practice with the team, right? So then something happened on the bus ride home from a game, and then I got in an argument with one of the varsity players or something like that. I think he tried to play me out or something. Yeah. And then the coach was in the front of the bus. He's like, "Yo, we cut you this year, and you ain't gonna make the team next year if you try out." So I went home and told my mom and pop, like, "Yo, my man said that no matter what, he ain't gonna make the team." You know what I mean? So my parents really just like, there was a scholarship program, and they used that to give me the Morristown Friends, who at the time had a better chance to play ball. Having gone to Morristown Friends, where everybody would consider to be that's a really good school, that's an elite education, that's wrong. You know what I mean? Right. Like that's really like, I went all through my high school years never coming across a black author or Latino author. Really think about that. You know what I mean? So really got to the point where I didn't understand that I didn't connect that actually black authors really existed. So think about all the people and all the works that I missed out on. Right. No Maya Angelou, no James Baldwin, all sorts of stuff. Where other people, and especially in the cities, get access to these sorts of things.
See, that's what I want to talk about. See, when I went to Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I was hungry for in the city. Like, I'm going to a school in the city surrounded by my people, and I ain't learning shit about my people.
Man, that's crazy.
You understand what I'm saying? All the years I had history, it took one history teacher, Miss Spearman. Miss Spearman. She didn't even open the history book that the school gave us because we didn't even have enough books to give out to the class. We had to actually borrow, like you had to leave your books in the classroom.
Yeah, in the fucking
you know what I'm saying? The book said 1982. I was born that year. How? This is 2001. You know what I'm saying? So if it wasn't for her telling us about certain people and showing us videos and giving us papers that she printed out herself, you know, about certain figures in our history, I would have never heard about it because not one time. Like they tell you the same shit, thing over and over.
That's
over.
lazy.
And when you're in search for that self-worth, that self-history, you're not receiving it inside your own community.
Yeah. So that's real.
So when I had, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like when I had my children, right? What I used to always say, so I had my first kid, I'm about it. You know what I'm saying? So I had my son. I moved out to St. Benson. All right, both of my kids go to school in St. Benson right now. They went to school in St. Benson from K. My son's about to go. He's in the 7th grade now.
Yeah.
I love the school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They give them free tutoring. They tutor them when they need to be tutored. Hey, do this, do that, do this. But you start to notice they getting the same problem I had.
Absolutely, of course. So absolutely.
And that leads into the question.
But hold on, because he's saying some important stuff. So I'm a staunch advocate for public schools because one, whether as a community we've been deliberately pushed aside, which we have been, the public school system still belongs to the Camden public, which is us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? In a way where the alternative schools, the charters and the Renaissance schools, they don't. You understand what I'm saying? So it's your right as a Camden parent to show up to the board meeting, show up to board of education and make your voice heard. You know what I'm saying? The fact that we just won the right to vote for our board of education members, it's their job to be accountable to the voters in a way that doesn't exist in an alternative, education setting. But that's not to say that our public schools have not had some deficiencies that really need to be, combated against, right? But in reference to what you're saying, like, you represent the same problem, absolutely. It's very, very similar. But think about this. I'm someone who's learned that every space where people are talking and conversing is potentially an educative environment.
Exactly.
So when I was hearing the brother Free Will talk about his book and stuff like that, there's no money being exchanged, there's no quote unquote teacher, but just sitting around, I'm learning certain things.
Right.
And I've understood about education. So the fact that we look around like, this school out here has X, Y, and Z. This school doesn't. This school they learn X, Y, and Z. This school they learn, A, B, C. It doesn't necessarily mean that one is right and one is wrong. It's just that it's different. But we've learned over the course of years and generations that as black folks, if we're not doing the same thing that white folks is doing in suburbia, that means we're wrong. And that's incomplete. So check this out. So like my daughter, she went to Camden Public Schools all her life. right? So y'all learned the card game tongue.
Yeah.
Right?
Tongue.
Y'all play it, right?
Yeah.
Tongue. You say you in a car game. Tongue.
Nah. You're a card game.
Yeah.
How long y'all knew that? How long y'all know?
I learned in school.
You learned in school. I just learned how to play tongue 2 years ago. But these are things that education is not just books. Education is everything you're around. You're picking up stuff. You're picking up culture. You're picking up, how to be your best self. And you can't learn a place where you feel uncomfortable. You can't learn a place as well when you feel like you're invalidated, whatever the case may be. So what my daughter might not necessarily be getting in terms of curriculum comparative to other Muslims, she's getting a whole lot more that's adding to her whole person. And as a parent, that matters way more. But that message doesn't get across to parents. You know what I mean? By design, though.
I didn't hear it. Right. I didn't see that. What you just talked about, I didn't see it until my son got about to fourth, fifth grade. And I'm like, what you mean you don't know that? I'm thinking like, the environment he's in doesn't teach him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And that's real.
Yeah, it doesn't teach him that because, like you said, as a parent, I only think of education as what he about to learn from this school, what he about to get from these books. And, you know what I mean? And it's so spread out that, like, when I was looking for a house, I'm searching for a house to buy, and on every house website, app, you go scroll up, school is this school. You click it, and it tells you the school rating. Yeah. And from off of that school rating, a lot of people don't read the small print, so you don't know it's just test scores. Yep. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people think that's just the school. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So you see this school, like the school my kids go to is a 7. Yeah. You know, it's a 1 to 10 rating. It's a 7. Then you go to Camden and say, oh, this school is a 3. Yeah. And you're like, ain't no damn 3. Yeah. And you're like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So then me and my wife was talking about this. I said, yo, it makes it seem like the school is bad as hell. Yeah. It's like it's not even like that. Yeah. But when you read it, it tells you that it's off the test scores. Oh, so you're just telling me these kids test better, not the teachers are more dedicated. Not this is happening. Not these kids
already on it, kid.
You know what I'm saying? So because we just had this conversation like last week.
You and your wife.
Me and my wife.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, what's Timber Creek about? You know what I'm saying? Because Timber Creek, I'm thinking of sports, right? Yeah. So then I look, I'm like, okay, Timber Creek at 3, Winslow at 2 or 3. I'm like, so
those numbers are it's bullshit.
Exactly. That's what
the schools that you hear about. These are better schools. Are simply they follow 2 criteria. They're more white and more affluent. Period. Yep. That's it. So think about all the places you heard was good schools. I guarantee you, it's a place that's whiter and has more money. That's all it is. Those rankings pretty much are just ranking where are the lower income minority students at. That's all.
That's exactly what it shows.
And parents but that message is not only intended for white folks, because black folks, we've adopted that as well. You feel me?
And I like what you asked me, like, as a parent, when you send your kid to one of these schools, how do you know that your child is getting a quality education? Yeah. Like, even if you, like, say you looked, you saw that website, you seen the rating, boom, you sent them there, you automatically, psychologically think that your kid is getting a good education. But how do you really know?
I don't think you ever know.
So how can you do, and the same thing and vice versa, even if it was a bad school, how can you decipher rather you're getting if your child is getting a good education?
I think where
how do you know as a parent?
I think where it comes from is kind of like, Will was talking about, Free Will was talking about, from what our parents experienced. Something you pass down your experiences. So from what I experienced in the school that I went to,
you didn't want them
in my time, I'm like, okay, I don't want a teacher telling you ain't never gonna graduate. I don't want you to have to, you know what I'm saying, get chased, people running out the street with machetes and shit. You
got kids, right? But I'm just talking about like evaluating your child. I'm sorry, my bad.
So when I see these things, I'm already evaluating for my child. Guess what? You're not going to receive it over there the way I want you to. So in my mind, I'm telling myself already that that's not even a thought. So when I take them over here, in my mind, it's already better. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care what it is in my mind. It's not this.
Because certain things we operate off, especially like it happens a lot in education and with parents. We operate the idea of like from a sort of deficiency perspective. Like we remember the bad things that happened in our school, things you missed out on, but ignoring the fact that you got a lot of good from your schooling.
I don't remember the person that good I got either.
So think about this. If you only look at good in terms of academics, you're only looking at like that's just one aspect of education. Not to mention, right? We could throw a lot of things off to the side. So one, a lot of people don't know you don't have to graduate high school to go to college. That's a fact. You don't have to graduate Winston. You don't got to graduate high school. Go to Winston to go to Camden County. Go to Camden County. Do your 2 years and then get admitted. They don't. And then when you go to Camden County and you get your transcript, when you apply to a 4-year university, that's what you want to do. They don't ask for your high school transcript. You feel me? So we've sort of beaten down and public education has done a bad job in Winston. Like you have to do X, Y, and Z to make it to this place that you want to go to. Mm-hmm. That's false. But my thing is that if you look at education in terms of informing and getting information for your entire person, there's a guarantee there's a whole lot of shit you learn in your schooling, right? From kindergarten up to the time you graduated, that some folks that got quote unquote bad education never came across.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a real thing. But there's other things that they get out there that you have some tools that they don't have. Exactly. But your tools that you got have become devalued. Like, that's not important. That don't mean nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. This is right here what matters. And what happens is we internalize that. So you ignore all the things that we're saying, how you engage in tough situations. Mm-hmm. Some folks don't never ever get. You got that in school. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Like some things, like, and what you see is you see some areas and some confusion happening in suburban schools. We actually try to be more like urban schools because we have something. We just don't recognize it. Yeah. We don't value the things that we have. Like a lot of people talk trash. A lot of people say, you know what? It's my mission to get out of Camden. Why?
That's where my question is going. So, as a parent, when you take your kids out of the public school system where they're going to be surrounded by, people of color, like just like you, are you reinforcing that where you are isn't good enough, and over here with these white people is better for you?
No,
I'm asking that question.
You actually unconsciously are. You're not purposely doing it, but you unconsciously are because that's what you already believe. Yeah, you're not. Right. You don't talk that way. I'm like, I don't talk it. You know what I'm saying? But when you go through certain things in life, you start to realize, like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I've had many conversations where I'm like, well, shit, like, you know what I'm saying? I would love for my kids to be around their people. Yeah. But then I'm like, okay, but I done kept them here for so long that they gonna feel out of place.
Yo, for real. When I think about my education experience, we're like, for real, I got carried a lot of baggage. You know what I mean? A lot of baggage in terms of what I felt about my own intellect and my own potential and capacity. Like, again, when I go back to my high school experience, there were certain, like, we had a college counselor, and she would talk to certain kids about certain schools. That, I would see these posters and stuff like that in the college advisement office, stuff like that, you know what I mean? But she never had a conversation with me. The only conversation she ever had with me were the schools that showed me some interest in basketball that I was going to be applying to anyway. So out of a private school, I only applied to Virginia State and Stockton. Mm-hmm. How? You can go anywhere and get that. Right. Why was there certain conversations? Now, I wasn't a terrible student, but she saw certain things in me that, you know what, that's not for you. Mm-hmm. And but my parents is thinking that, they're sending me to some more opportunity. But having that experience and going through that let me realize, like, that shit ain't no oasis for everybody. You know what I mean? And so the stuff that we have right here is worthy of being valued if we recognize all the possibilities and what not ignoring the deficiencies. We gotta hold them accountable, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But when we recognize that your kids got hella opportunities, like Camden High every year gives out tens of thousands of dollars worth of scholarships every year. When I taught Camden High, my senior year, every kid, whether it was high achievers academically or lower achievers, everyone got accepted to a college. Mm-hmm. That message don't get out. Test scores get out. Mm-hmm. Exactly. But test scores is bullshit.
Exactly. Right. The test is bullshit. Mm-hmm.
But when they get to say, like, no, these schools is terrible, wherever case you be ranked only by test scores, and as a parent, you want the best for your kid, I'm not going to say this terrible school. Look at this ranking. Right. Only by test scores.
Mm-hmm. It's a conditioning that you don't even think about. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's automatic brainwashing. Like as soon as you enter this Camden school system, you automatically start to get that brainwashing that your education you're getting.
Yep, it's not because you already heard it before. But some people already went there. Yeah.
To the TV, to the radio, to your parents, to your family, your friends. You repeatedly hear. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so that's like once again with my children. Yeah. They go to school. I try to keep a balance. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to take them out their school until I move. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I try to keep them there, but I also keep them in the city. Yeah, just for me, like we're down here. I need you to understand certain educations of life. Yeah, you know what I mean.
That leads into my question, just for you. What is a good education for you as a parent for your kid? To me, ideal. What do you want?
I had to learn
from a Camden school system, like you said, right? And the mindset and the stereotype of our school system.
You already know.
But like you as a parent, you as a Camden resident coming from the city, what is a good quality education?
You already know. I think education is too long anyway. You know what I'm saying? I think
as far as
putting kids in school for way too long. You need to learn the basics. Education actually needs to be changed. You need to start teaching life skills in school. No, everything that I've learned in school that came out of a book, I use this much of it. I use more life choice making decisions, like the decisions I need to make to get ahead in life. You know what I'm saying? I can read, I can do math, you can do all these things. You know, certain things about science. I haven't used earth science one time since I've been out of school. I haven't used chemistry. Well, I have used chemistry, but
I'm gonna cut you up. I got you. I swear to God. I'm just talking about for your kids. Like, what do you see it as? What's a good education at 2019?
2019, I don't
for
think
your
there's
kids. Like, what's for you? Like, idea. Like, what would you want from the system?
A good education.
Okay.
I think it depends on the person. I didn't need a book education. You know what I mean? I needed teach me how to balance life. You understand what I'm saying? Of course, teach me the basics of the necessities I need. And when you talk about the necessities of education, you just talk about the necessities of life. You know, give me the things I need to live correctly and pursue my dreams. You understand what I'm saying? If I want to be a doctor, okay, prepare me. There's no reason for me to do all this other shit that's not pushing me towards that.
Right. And the question for you, because you know you went to college, graduated.
One
my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
One quick second. And we had to stop. I had to learn to stop relying on the school to teach my kids everything.
Was I told
you? You understand what I'm saying? I had to stop relying on teaching my kids everything. Like, how can I send you to any man, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, to teach you about self when you came from me? You understand what I'm saying? I am myself.
You as a parent have to play a role as far as
because that's the mistake we make even in the city. You can't expect another man, woman to teach your kid about self.
Right.
That has to happen inside the house.
And the key is there's parents out there that just send their kids to school. They don't
they think that's good enough.
And they work in 2 jobs. They don't have the time to even educate their kids.
No, they do have the time.
They don't want to. They don't value it.
In 2019, you have email. You have things you can send to your kids. I send my kids. My son loves to play Fortnite. You can't get on Fortnite until you read this paper I don't print it out about this man in history, this woman in history, or this little sheet I just need you to complete. You complete this, you can go get an hour on the game.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Learn about you. It has to happen inside the house. If it ain't happening inside the house, you really can't complain about shit.
How you feel about that, Keith?
I feel like this brother's perspective is, so his son is in a very fortunate situation.
Very fortunate. I mean,
obviously, there's some level of stability in your household. You know,
it gets crazy.
I'm saying, and structure that folks that don't necessarily have a whole lot of money. You know what I mean? Not physically, simply just time-wise, may not necessarily be in as fortunate a situation. Case in point. If someone's a parent working a low-wage job, you know what I mean, like, you know, the Family Dollars or, you know, the hourly wages at McDonald's where kids be. A lot of people think McDonald's is teenage jobs. It's wrong. The average age for somebody who works at McDonald's is 29. Most times when people are 29, they have children, right? If you're putting that hourly work in, you might have the best intentions in the world for your kid. Time-wise and income don't allow you to be as involved in your kid's education.
That's the system playing against
Exactly. So, in reference to, you know, like a parent has, you know, the responsibility, of course, to teach a kid, but the reality is, I think structurally and economically, parents are relying on the school system to do something that, as an economic system, the country has taken away their ability to do.
Right.
So there is a higher, here's a higher expectation for schools, especially in the city, to do more, right? But where the schools aren't able to do this stuff on their own, that's where the beauty of the public school, the fact that being a public schools district matters. That if we have community coming here and getting involved, and there's spaces for that, we could not fill the void, but, you know, sort of bridge some of the gaps. You know what I mean? But I think it really starts with actually valuing the shit that we have. Like, we have a lot of beauty around here. Otherwise, folks don't be trying to come take it away. You know what I mean? There's a reason why they're trying to collapse our district. There's beauty here, but unless we recognize it, if we don't value this shit, it's going to get taken.
I'm in the car. I used to go visit my dog, now we don't speak at all. I need that Billy and Czar, I don't know what y'all on. I got the mind of a hustler, I tell Camden I'm gone. I give you game loan, homie, if your loyalty strong. I'm talking for the people, black people we on. If you ain't trying on your own, then I don't know what y'all on. Mission I'm on to put my family on. I know the feeling of being broken outside being home. Word.
That hardship you've been through, I don't care what nobody else gonna say. I'm proud of you. Oh, Wallow, you don't know me. I don't care if I don't know you. I know somebody to know you. That's why you getting this message. Because I'm proud of you. You hear me? You doing your thing. You done went through all you know, I wanted that promotion. You went and got that. I got this idea. You gonna get business in life. Oh, I'm gonna be a better person. I'm gonna get back with my friend. You done that. I'm gonna get back. Oh, I'm gonna put my ego to the side. I know I did wrong. Let me get back with my girl. You done that. I'm proud of you for manning up. I'm proud of you for going after your dreams. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.